Larry Fink says tokens are the next generation for markets. David G.W. Birch. The CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, recently said that tokenization will be the next generation for markets. If you think of tokens as Bitcoin or pictures of chimpanzees with sunglasses on, you might well think that the man who runs the biggest asset management company with $7 trillion under management is out on a limb. But if you think of tokens as digital assets that can be traded via protocols, you may well agree with me that his view is accurate, credible, and inevitable. It may sound hyperbolic, but I'm sure that the future will be tokenized. Not ideology, economics. Mr. Fink's Mr. Fink's perspective is not, I'm sure, ideological. His view of a new kind of financial market infrastructure of fungible and non-fungible tokens that are exchanged through decentralized financial services will provide instantaneous settlement and reduce fees. Tokens are barrel instruments. The token for 100 or for a seat at the Rangers game is either in my wallet, in which case it is mine, or it is in your wallet, in which case it is yours. When a token goes from my wallet to your wallet, it is now yours. There is no clearing or settlement, no reconciliation, and no question of authenticity. The idea that tokens are central to the future of finance is now new other serious players who understand financial markets. I interviewed Jonathan Larson as head of a Ping, a global voyager fund, on stage at Monday 2020 Asia in Singapore a couple of years ago. He told me that tokens is finance is a much bigger story than cryptocurrencies, and confirmed my suspicion that institutional strategies and scenario plans should be updated to take into account the new technology immediately. I remember Jonathan's focus on three key characteristics that he saw as driving the new asset class: transparency and universal access, and the ability to reduce frictional costs. Reducing frictional costs, thus reducing the overall cost of financial intermediation in society, is a good thing for all of us, but that point about transparency is also very important. Last year, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, David Solomon, who was similarly talking about using decentralized finance to reduce risk in the financial system, said that the technology was about making the financial system more transparent. Fabian Shar, writing in the St. Louis Fed Economic Research Review on Decentralized Finance, similarly described as an infrastructure based on open protocols with agreements that are enforced by code and transactions that are executed in a secure and verifiable way. They predict that such an infrastructure would be a highly interoperable financial system with unprecedented transparency, equal access rights, and little need for custodian, central clearinghouses, or escrow services. Transparent does not, of course, mean that everyone will be able to read everyone else's data, but it does mean that the new technologies will enable everyone to see that they can trust everyone else. The financial market's version of difference between showing people your data all birth, bad, and showing people a credential from a regulated financial institution that states that you are over 21. Good. You can prove things about data without sharing the data, a concept I keep returning to because it is so central to both the universal and the metaverse. This could be implemented through zero-knowledge proofs, for example, a subject being explored by token researchers and developers worldwide. Tokens, transparency, and trust. Larry, Jonathan, David, and Fabian are people who have forgotten more about financial services than I will ever learn. So I think we need to take their point about transparency seriously. The emerging regulatory environment for digital assets can be different from and more efficient than the existing regulatory environment using the techniques of cryptographic blinding, verifiable credentials, homomorphic encryption, and so on. We can make markets that work in a very new way. We can make markets in which, for example, organizations can be sure of the solvency of counterparties by computing that their assets exceed their liabilities without being able to discover what any of those assets or liabilities actually are. No need for meaningless attestations or after the horse has barked at the audits. Financial markets that are built on the pillar of tokens, transparency, and trust will indeed be the next generation.